Gets better, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, gonna mess it up for you again. Okay. Makes it worse.
Mm-hmm.
See this
Much
thing
better, right
here.
there. We're going to see if he can do it left-handed.
Okay, now look down for me. Now look up. Blink a couple. How's that lens feel? Put your head against the headrest again for me. Okay. Down for me. Now look up. And there's the contact lens. As soft as it is.
The driver's education program affects almost every student in the school system. It also affects parents' pocketbooks in that they pay lower insurance premiums. Another controversial issue on the agenda tonight is the moving of the Central Innovative High School program from the downtown area to the smaller Cleveland school.
At the first school board election on April 14th, there wasn't too much public interest and voter turnout was low. But today is quite a different story. The voters have been turning out. Dr. Arminstad and Hugh Long both want this job, and they hope this time the election will decide a winner and another special election won't have to be held.
His son was a good friend of LB.
The polls will close at 7 o'clock. Ed Stewart, Action 4.
These people here have migrated out. These districts had to grow. The only way that you could make them grow is to grow here, that the majority of the people had it that way. Sandy had to do it. Yes.
For example, this area used to be called House District 85. After reapportionment, it'll be called something else. And the Republicans who used to serve out here side by side will suddenly be lumped into one legislative district. And they're going to have to decide whether to run against each other come election time.
It would. Would you agree? I agree, Tom. I hope she...
I think there's rank and gross political gerrymandering in Oklahoma County. The big growth area was not divided amongst the people who are in that part.
They took the areas south of the river, expanded them, and had to come in and dip into our area. I kind of feel emotionally drained because this thing's been going on for about 5 months. And finally they've apparently got it down in black and white, and we'll just have to make a decision and live with what they gave us.
I don't think the committee's done their job when they're done it. I don't think there's a member on this committee can say that it's fair.
Around going up along Northeast 4th Street out to and substantial that bed ground picks up black areas from Freddie Williams and
I'm sorry that we have to come to the committee to solve this problem, but that's just where it's.
You gotta learn to eat. Yeah, I guess so. You know, Sarah. Sarah, you start eating. Come on. There you go. Come on.
The formulas themselves are probably complete nutritional and without any problem if they're used properly. But that means that they have to be mixed correctly in terms of proportion. They have to be mixed under some decent sanitary standards, which are easy in the developed countries, but which are very, very difficult in the underdeveloped countries.
Some doctors say that it's hard to take a stand on this issue because the formula companies are providing a good product. But it's hard to think of millions of babies dying needlessly. Jane Boone, Action 4 at Mercy Health Center.
Miss Arnett, and by side,
Mrs.
Shattuck.
You're in Shattuck?
Yes, I am.
Did you get one? Have a bumper sticker? I think I passed some of your people.
Be maintained. And our third point is that we're saying that if the legislature... I think all of you are aware that the legislature right now has found $26 billion to give to welfare. Surely they could find $20 million to give to schools.
All is quiet at the Capitol now, but a lot of people here were happy to see those folks from northwestern Oklahoma leave. They felt they had overstayed their welcome. Besides, most of the lawmakers have their minds made up anyway.
So, they were... What? We're going to discuss the budget bills.
I ran out of gas.
He got his vote after the good ones had left. He took it off. He come back in about 2 hours.
Few people know very much about it. The nationalized some 59 years ago, and they were first to admit conquers all things.
Cattlemen in the Center State have lived up to this motto time and time again.
Allowing 25 cents per head to be diverted to and used by a beef commission of 9 people appointed by the governor in the state of Oklahoma, representing the cattlemen, the cow-calf men, the graziers, the stalkers, the feeders, and packer representatives.
Not be dominated by Washington bureaucrats. Most cattlemen feel that's the reason the referendum failed. This program will have a much better chance. Ben McCain, Action 4.
What's your favorite thing to do on days like this when you don't have anything to do?
Come out in the sun, play Frisbee with some good people. You just live to have days like today. It's been raining too much.
What's the best part of being out here today?
I can relax so I can tackle tomorrow.
Maybe our only other alternative. If he'll sign this one,
Take my best shot.
Don't change the 20%.
Oh, did you get everybody's, did anybody talk to you?
The main issue is the gross production tax and the redistribution of the growth of it, or part of it. I don't know. There are about 20 different plans floating around, and I just say we haven't reached a consensus yet.
The governor spent all afternoon meeting with lawmakers about the compromise plan. It would be a way for him to get his water development plan passed, which he has wanted so much, and a way for lawmakers to come up with a comprehensive school funding bill. At any rate, once all of this is resolved, things will be a lot smoother at the Capitol. Bella Shaw, Action 4 at the state capitol.
There are some major portions of Oklahoma City that are sparsely populated. However, if you live out here and need a policeman, you want him there just as fast as if you live downtown.
Some people, they might think it'd be easier to hit.
The difference in riding a district like mine, far northeast, rather than riding downtown, is you don't have as congested areas, city blocks and number of houses in one particular block, number of people. Your response time is going to be different to a lot of calls. You may be 10, 15 minutes away from the call, rather if you ride downtown, you may be 2 to 3 minutes away from the call.
I've got to expand this cafeteria. We're catering from this little bitty cafeteria out here. All the students that eat here, we cater for. And then you can't count on Oklahoma weather for outward remarks set on both sides of this issue. And I'm talking about the school people. I know politicians don't like this, and I think that's unfortunate. I don't want to take from the rich and give to the poor. I just like to have the things that the rich school districts do. And my concern is that, you know, the number one factor relating to how much money is spent on a child's education in Oklahoma is where they live. And, you know, I just don't think that's a fair kind of thing.
This old maintenance building is another thing that could stand to be replaced in the Noble school system, but officials here aren't ready to throw in the towel yet. Noble is one of 42 school systems that has filed a suit with the state Supreme Court. And administrators say that if this problem can't be worked out in the state legislature, they'll let it be worked out in the state courts. Jane Boone, Action 4 in Noble.
A viewer writes in and says, sometime back in response to a question on common law marriage, you said there was no legal minimum requirement as to the length of time you have to live together, such as 1 month. It's very important to me to know if 1 week would constitute a valid common law marriage, one from which you would have to obtain a divorce. The moment that both parties agree to be man and wife, either verbally or by their acts, a marriage comes into existence. There is no minimum length of time. However, practically speaking, the evidence of a common law marriage is the reputation of the couple among their family and friends and whether they are considered to be husband and wife. Without the intent of both parties to consummate a marriage, however, a weekend fling would ordinarily not create a common law marital relationship. For Action 4, this is Ray Vaughn with Legal Briefs.
That we may be talking about just in central Oklahoma alone $250 million to $300 million to modify well systems, to modify treatment plants and such to bring it to that level.
Raymond says he doesn't think it would be worth it to make the modifications.
It's estimated that by EPA that we're talking about 1 death per 1 million residents over 70 years. That's the protection that this will give us. And I'm contending that we have more people who are hit-and-run victims in downtown Edmond over 70 years than that.
Not past alcoholics, we're not ex-alcoholics.
There are definitely people coming into AA as young as 13 years old, and we consider the age group 30 and under as being young, but there are plenty of teenagers that are in trouble with drinking that are calling AA. And they get to AA sometimes because their parents are either in AA or had drinking problems, and they don't think it's going to happen to them, and it does.
recovery begins when you say, I am an alcoholic, because you recognize and you admit your problem. And until you admit your problem, you're not going to do anything about it.
Before we do our wheat forecast this Friday. Well, I think at this time of year, farmers tend to be, I won't say pessimistic, but certainly cautious and conservative in their thinking. They're looking at storm clouds and a wheat crop that's almost ripe, and they're obviously and naturally nervous and worried. And then looking beyond the wheat harvest into a cotton crop or a peanut crop or a milo crop, I'm sure they're quite concerned over another repeat of last summer.
How's that?
I think that's big enough.
We just got hit about 3 weeks ago and we had a brand new car. I just got it appraised, so hail damage, so we quick got that one in the garage and that one bit the dust. So, you know, it's just, what can you do? Comes down, you just sit and watch. Terrible.
Sound like somebody on top of the roof with a hammer, and you look out in the greenhouse and see all the damage. It makes you want to crawl in the hole somewhere. But
The enforcement and the use of
an incident in which there is a...
This is the person appointing them. Okay.
Your jail is a zoo. It is really a zoo, and it's unreal. I have seen people. I saw an old Indian gentleman on August the 26th, early evening, thrown to the floor after becoming nauseated from getting hit in the stomach with a flashlight, and throwing up on a gentleman's shoe, an officer's shoe, I suppose. And they grabbed his nose and rubbed his hair and rubbed his nose in it.
Well, our comment to Mr. Fleming is we would appreciate it if he'd take this to district court, because we'd like to meet him in court with all the facts, and particularly in his case. And the second fact, though, the allegation he made about the jail is the jail is run by civilian jailers, commanded by police commanders, and also the happenings in the jail are monitored normally by closed-circuit TV. And I'm sure we do have things occur in the jail because of the type of people get in there. But we try to watch it very closely, and if he does have some allegation, he should bring it the time and date to us so we can check back and see if something did happen. Now, we have that at the time that he indicates, we have no complaint, though.
Police Chief Heggy says as long as cameras are recording the activity in the holding tank and elevators, there's little chance any police brutality can be proven. He says the police department is not totally without fault, But he adds, as long as he is chief, police brutality will be kept to a bare minimum. Ed Stewart, Action 4, Oklahoma City Police Department.
I think the $40 million would be enough to address any need that we'd have to be facing from any proposed federal cuts. See, we don't have any idea what those cuts are going to be. The Congress has not acted yet upon the President's recommendations, and we don't have any really way of knowing what those cuts will be. The federal budget fiscal year starts October the 1st. So you're talking about most of the cuts that would be effective October, November, December. Well, the legislature will be in session in January. So surely $40 million in carryover would be a good enough hedge against any dire emergency that we might have for 3 months. In addition to that, any agency could, by cooperation with the administration, we could perhaps adjust within its budget any unusual need that they might have.
We anticipate now at a new hearing introducing evidence for 3 additional names to show that the additional 3 names are in fact regular votes, and therefore making 17 the total number of irregular votes. And because there was an 18 vote margin of victory, that would thereby make it determinable by the county election board that Mr. Long won with mathematical certainty.
Without another election. Snowball, that's action 4.